Hello everyone, we're going to do a pretty quick one today because I found this model in my pile of shame, one of the boxes that I finally started going over since I moved, and I found the Exalted Champion of Tzeentch. Or, better yet said, the character that they added in a panic for Shadows of Change. Very different to the one in the Total War game because that one has a halberd, whereas here he's actually got some extra frills and he's got additional hand weapons. This is a very old school miniature and I want to give him a little 90s vibe to him. So the idea here is not painting to a normal standard, but rather, now that's what I call the 90s, basically. I'm obviously going to be using modern paints, and we started off with a white scar base. And we're going to be doing this a little different, no pre-shade, just jumping straight in to the main paint that's going to be here, which is Retributor armor. This is gold, and you're going to be using that basically on all the armor. The idea here is it's going to be very, very bright. We're going to have some other colors too. And I'm going to try and follow the Creative Assembly interpretation with its own little spin. Retributor armor is a fantastic paint. Just make sure, obviously, to thin it down. I have a water pot right next to me. It's because, obviously, metallics are very thick and they can get rid of a lot of detail. You can easily just search Exalted Champion of Tzeentch online, and that will give you the Total War one in case you want to follow around with it too. But I don't imagine a lot of people have this model because it is very, very old, and I likely won't be using this in a battle report, mostly because additional hand weapons don't really fit with Tzeentch, but I figured if I've got some oldies, I might as well get them up and painted, right? My plan is to have as many miniatures done as possible from my pile of shame this year because it's becoming a bit of an issue, especially since everything had to kind of get sent over. There's a lot of gold and it's going to be very natural to make mistakes, so Croax white going over it works very, very well. I do also want to state that this model doesn't have as much detail as it should, mostly because I got this in like 98, I think. And yeah, he's aged and he's been hit around a lot. But already he's looking pretty cool because the gold itself is a great color. So we're going to start hitting him with some other stuff because we need to add some extra color to here. So I'm going to go with Ultramarines blue contrast paints. I know that sounds really weird to use contrast paints on metal models, but I'm not going to be using it that much. The idea here is just get a little bit of extra dark blues. I know that sounds very odd for Tzeentch, but originally a lot of older artwork would use darker blues than we see nowadays. So I figured go with a little bit of a classic look there. There's not a lot of areas with blue. It's basically the armor plates that aren't gold. Same thing as the Total War character. It's always better to use a small brush with this type of character if you can because it's very small areas and you don't want to just stain over the gold. I mean, if you do, that's okay because you can go over it, but it can cause a little problem if you're just going to be too quick about it. You naturally don't want it to fall on the skin or any place else where, yeah, it can just be a bit of an issue just getting it back to its original white. But we are going to jump onto the next paint, which is going to be Voluptuous Pink contrast paint. Now this is one of my favorites actually because I use it for my Soneshi warriors, and what's going to be done here is just for a little bit of the frills on the back of the head. This is something that the Total War character doesn't have, and I imagine it's just because it is just kind of nonsensical, but it looks pretty cool. And it'll allow for an extra bit of color here, because when it comes to very old miniatures, one thing that does help a lot is bringing in as much color as possible. I'm trying my best with regards to the camera. It's likely picking up the Skaven from the Cities of Ash box that Games Workshop sent me. Those are going to be in a video soon. Give it some time and they'll be there. There's a lot of stuff that I'm working on, and yeah, this is the problem when wanting to make a new form of content alongside my regular stuff. It's just trying to find the time and find the perfect workload without going too hard. But I do want to do a few more videos a week just because, yeah, it's actually helping me get my pile of shame done. But we're going to be moving on because there is more to do. Snakebite leather coming in with the boot. Now, usually the boot is shown as blue, but I kind of like the idea of the leather boot looking like leather. And also, there's two small pouches on the model. There's not really a lot of leather when it comes to this mini. But hey, it's a different color and yeah, I mean, I like it, so that doesn't really need to be an excuse. Okay, so we're going to be jumping onto a layer paint now called Ahriman Blue. And this is because Creative Assembly actually used the blue skin on the generic character, and I liked it, so we're going to do something similar. So Ahriman blue, 2 parts with 2 parts white paint. This is usually Croax, and 1 part water to thin it down. We want blue skin, but still be brighter than the blue that we've already got, so it's a bit of a contrast there. My cat's just decided to swan dive on me. I use this color a lot for my Thousand Suns, so it's nice to see it used somewhere else. This character does have a decent amount of skin because it's the 3 heads, the hands, and a lot of legs. So take your time, kind of pick little areas and go for it. Don't worry if you skip a section because you'll have to come back eventually when you start doing all your fixes. The last paint coming in is going to be Leadbelcher. So the idea here is the metals, just to kind of get a little bit of extra color coming in. And yeah, I'm not going to focus around highlights. I'm going with like a 90s style aesthetic here, where a lot of people didn't really highlight their models back then, mostly because there wasn't really a lot of paints. Hell, I remember those old white tops. Oh, good old days. Some of them are still wet. It just shows that lead paints can keep going for a while. Never put the brush in your mouth if you're using lead paints, by the way. But yes, Leadbelcher, and then going back to fix up any issues, because there are some like bits on top of the swords that should be gold also, but I wanted to do all the Leadbelcher first. So this is where you're going to be coming back to fix up your model. Obviously, that's a big thing here. There's not that much coming into it, and I could have put a few more paints in there, but I figured in some cases less is more if there's enough paints being showcased, and I figured that this is enough. Now, the model does look rough, and this is always expected when you're going for a very minimal style. However, we're going to jump in with an all-over wash, yes, all over, of Nuln Oil. And this is where I'm praying, when I was doing this model, I was praying that Nuln Oil, Liquid Talent, was going to fix up all the issues there. Remember that Nuln Oil has been changed over the years and now is more like a contrast paint in a sense, not that thick, but it does bring down the model quite heavily. I've always found it to be very good at muting down a model, but also making sure that all the paints stay consistent with each other. Now, I do prefer Agrax, especially when doing stuff like gold, but with the light blues and bringing that down, it's always better to go with Null, because black is a shade of practically everything, right? Now, this isn't the sexiest paint job I've ever done, but I feel like I'm pretty happy with, like, this is basically how I would have had him on the 90s. And I think that's alright. It's a character model which I really like. I've got a lot of old school Chaos Champions that I just want to get sorted. I'm a bit beefed that I don't really have too much for the basing. Like, my mud and my snow arrived, so that's great. But I need some extra stuff just to kind of add a little bit to it. Maybe I'll just end up ripping him off the base and putting on a different style. It depends. I really haven't done much with my Tzeentch warriors just yet, which is a little disappointing, but I've been working on other projects. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start with a discussion. I do apologize that this video is a little shorter, but I do have a bunch of stuff on the way. So a little patience, please. But there's going to be a lot coming. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.